What's up, guys? So I'm going to try to do a tutorial on how to sing metal. I've had a sore throat for the last couple days, so we're going to find out if I can actually sing metal. I mean, I've been singing, but like not like singing, you know. So we're going to find out if I can sing enough to actually teach. But if I can't sing, fuck you, alarm. If I can't teach, I mean, I can still teach if I can't sing. Sorry, I'm using a phone and I'm trying to hold it and do shit at the same time. Okay, fuck it. So first thing when you're any type of singing is you want to make sure that you have a clear throat. Like a lot of people think when you sing metal, you want to gather up all that mucus and phlegm and shit and keep it in your throat. And that's not true. You don't want to do that, because then you're just going to spit it all up when the moment you push air up through your throat, or you're going to choke on it, and that's not good. So that's the last thing you want to do, is spit on everybody, or choke on your own spit and die on stage or wherever. But another thing you want to do to try to help that is drink water. I don't drink a lot of water because I'm an idiot, but you cannot be an idiot and drink more water. But that'll help keep your throat like moist, because you don't want a dry throat. Then it becomes scratchy and then you can't sing. So you want to make sure that your throat keeps, a level of moist, and that helps just in general for like the flexing of all your muscles throughout your throat and everything, and throughout your mouth. Is everything needs to be moist, because when it dries out, it tries to stay where it's at when it starts to dry out, and that's not good. You don't want everything to just freeze up, But yeah, so now that those are out of the way, because a lot of people fuck little basic shit up like that, the actual process of singing metal, it's very similar to like opera music or anything like that. It's very powerful, and that's part of why a lot of metalheads are, willing to listen to like classical music and opera, is because it's similar in style. It's powerful, and the vocals are also very powerful. And so if you think of it like that, you want a very power and deep kind of sound. You want that sound, and where that comes from is kind of like your diaphragm. So like, depending on where you're pushing the air from in your chest can depend on how the sound actually gets put out there and what kind of sound can be produced. So for the style of metal that I sing, I usually push from like roughly like where my ribs start to separate, kind of where my stomach is and all that. That's where I'm pushing from deep in my chest, and I'm pushing kind of hard. If you want to develop those muscles, you could try doing like crunches, where you like have your knees kind of up in the air and your feet off the ground, and you just kind of like bring your head down to it. That will focus on those muscles so that you can actually build them up if you don't have a strong core. Even though I'm a fat ass, I still relatively have a strong core, which is important for singing in general, just because it helps you push the amount of power that you need in your voice to be able to actually project your voice. But once you get that down, you can actually push from right here. The next place that's going to is your throat and everything, and that's also something where most people tend to fuck up whenever they're singing metal, is how they manipulate the sound in their throat. And everyone seems to think that that's how you get that grindy, gritty sound, is in your throat, and you don't. The throat, like, I'm trying to be not as technical as possible, because I don't want everybody to watch this and think, hey, I need a fucking, like, medical degree to understand what the fuck this guy's saying. There's a million tutorials like that if that helps you. I mean, that's how I kind of helped myself learn, was by actually watching these tutorials, and I also find that shit kind of interesting. Like, I find medical science interesting, but not everybody finds medical science interesting, and that's why I'm going to try to keep this as, like, common tongue as possible, because I don't want anybody to watch this and be like, what the fuck is he talking about, and have to go look up a bunch of shit on the internet to figure out what the hell I'm talking about. I want anybody to be able to watch this video and be like, oh yeah, I can do that. So, when it hits your vocal cords, you know, your vocal cords help produce the sound, and your vocal flaps help produce, like, pitch. And, you know, all of that manipulates how the sound actually is produced, like what note and what pitch and all that. So, all you're doing when the air is passing through your throat is you're basically just manipulating the sound to get the right note that you want at the right pitch, and that's it. Like, everyone thinks that you need to, like, stress your vocal cords and all that. Never stress your vocal cords. That will fuck up your voice. You'll be singing for maybe about 2 minutes, and then you're done. You start screeching, or just, you can't hit notes. It starts hurting real bad. Next thing you know, you can't speak even. You know, that's not what you want whenever you're singing, you know. You would like to be able to keep talking like how you normally talk, like how I am now. If you sing metal right, you can continue talking. You can sing for hours even, and it not be an issue. But if you're doing it wrong, then you're not going to be able to sing for very long, and you're not going to be able to speak afterwards, and that's never any good. But, keep your vocal cords relaxed, you know? Like, a lot of people seem to fuck up stressing the vocal cords. They want to overstress them. Don't overstress your vocal cords. That's where everybody fucks up. Don't overstress them. The greatest sound is not produced in the vocal cords. The vocal cords simply change the note that you're hitting. That's it. They're only for notes. They don't change the actual, like, way that note is played out. It purely just changes the note. So don't stress your vocal cords. Just hit the note like how you normally would. Just like how you're speaking. The thing is you're stressing everything less than if you were to sing like opera or any kind of clean vocal. So, like, usually with clean vocals, everything's tight, you know, and not like overly tight, but just enough to where it's like a nice, crisp, clean sound. With metal, you're not doing that. You're keeping everything relaxed. Think of it more like how when you just wake up, your voice is all, you know, gravelly. That's kind of how you're singing metal, is you're at that gravelly voice. The reason why your voice sounds like that is because everything, like your vocal cords, the vocal flaps and all that, they're not awake, you know. It's like you just woke up, you don't really feel like getting out of bed. Well, neither does your vocal cords, you know. They're still trying to sleep. They're still laying in bed, and so you sound gravelly when you speak because they're not fully awake yet. And that's kind of the sound that you're going for. They're nice and relaxed at that point when you're sounding gravelly, and you want that kind of sound. So relax your vocal cords, relax them all. You can still hit the right note when they're relaxed. They're just gonna vibrate a little more and sound a little deeper, but you're still hitting the same note, and that's the sound you're going for. You want that gravelly sound. You want things to vibrate a little extra than it would if you were to sing, you know, clean. So you want to relax, not stress, relax. So the opposite of what people seem to think. Just relax. Like, how I picture whenever I'm singing metal is I'm releasing the anger. So I'm pulling the demon from my chest, and I have to push it the fuck out. So I gotta push hard from down here, and then it's gonna hit my vocal cords. Now I can close up my vocal cords and act like it's a fucking gate and keep that demon in and keep shoving the demon against the fucking gate, but it's gonna eventually break through that gate. Or I can open up the gate and let that motherfucker go out. And when it comes to metal, you want to release the anger. You're not holding it in, you're releasing it. So you open up those gates, you let that demon the fuck out. The anger is outside, it's projected outwards Inside, you want to be tranquil and peaceful and, relaxed, because the anger is not in you anymore. It's outside. And that's why metal seems so angry when you're singing, because you're releasing the anger. You're finding that inner peace. You're pushing the anger out, so everybody else has to deal with that. Everybody listening, that's what they hear. They hear your anger. They hear all that, because normally you're peaceful and shit on the outside, because, you're keeping all that anger trapped. You're holding it in a cage. But when you're singing metal, you've released that anger. So you don't have it in you anymore. It's outside, which means everything can relax on the inside. And singing metal for me is a very relaxing experience. I sound pissed off and angry, but I'm so fucking relaxed. And it's because I get to release that anger. I get to vent that emotion outwards. So I'm not trapping it in, I'm pushing it out. And, that's always something that's going to be stress relieving. And that's probably why so many people love metal, is because it gives them the opportunity to kind of release a bit of their anger. And that's always stress relieving. And so when you're singing it, you are doing exactly that. You're releasing all of your anger. You are the voice of anger at that point. And you're releasing it. You're letting everyone know that you're pissed off too. And this is all of your fucking anger out on the table. And that's what you're putting out there. So you got to find that peace on the inside, though. Which means all that anger needs to be out. And it needs to be peaceful on the inside. And when you're peaceful, you're relaxed. So keep everything relaxed. But, so when it passes through your vocal cords that are now relaxed, and past the vocal flaps that are also relaxed, you're not going to go directly out of your mouth, because otherwise you don't get that heavy sound, you don't get the growling sound. So, with clean vocals, usually the vocals go from your vocal cords and then out. With metal vocals, you gotta push the air from your vocal cords to the back of your throat, right about to kind of just behind the sinus cavities. Like if you can sit there and kind of like snort a little bit, like close your mouth and kind of like right about there where you feel the vibrating in the back of your throat, that's kind of where, whenever you're singing metal, the air is going to push up against. So, and that's how that sound is produced, that like deeper growly sound, is because the air is all being pressurized in the back of your throat. It's not pressurizing down here, because that fucks up your throat. You're getting pushed as hard as you can from right here through your nice fucking relaxed throat and everything. It's just like, alright, cool, dude, passing through whatever gate it needs to produce the right note that you want to produce. And then it's going to smack against the back of your throat, and it's going to pressurize at the back of your throat, because that's where all the air is at, and then it's going to shotgun itself the fuck out, because the pressure gets too intense, and it throws itself out. And then you get that growling scream because of that. So, like, when you do that, you have to more or less learn to flex the back of your throat, which is something that a lot of people apparently can't do. But when you sing metal enough, you do it usually without even thinking about it. You do it with certain words, but you don't do it all the time. It's not like a common thing for you to flex your throat like how you would when you're singing metal. But a way around that, to try to get used to it, is just to push a little bit harder from your diaphragm and kind of think about pushing it to the back. My device is too hot. It feels cold. What the fuck are you talking about? Fuck you, motherfucker. It's probably gonna shut off on me. Anyway, but yeah, so you want to push it to the back of your throat, and if you're not used to flexing, because like whenever I'm singing metal, the air is flowing outwards. This is the back of my throat. Usually the back of the throat's right here. Whenever I'm singing metal, I kind of flex it downwards. It's not a huge flex or anything. It's not major, but it's kind of like whenever you swallow, the spit kind of gathers up right where the air would be at, like right where your airflow is pushing into. and goes down. Well, you're kind of using that same muscle that helps you swallow, that would push it back down, like push all your saliva back down your throat. You're kind of using that muscle to push your throat kind of down, so that when the airflow hits it, it can actually pressurize in the back of your throat. So otherwise, if it stays up here, it's just going to let it flow freely, and that doesn't help you. It doesn't produce the right sound. But when you flex it, and it comes down a little bit, that little change is enough to make the air kind of hit and stay for a second, just enough to produce a different sound and then get pushed out. And that's kind of what you're going for whenever you sing metal. And the reason why I like this style of singing, because there's different styles of singing metal, the reason why I like this style of metal singing is because I can switch between clean vocals and metal vocals very quickly, because all it takes is me to flex my throat or relax the back of my throat, and that's it. I'm just sitting there doing this, and it changes between clean and very heavy metal sound just by doing that with the back of my throat. I don't have to change notes or anything like that. I can continuously hit the same note on one breath. I don't have to stop, I don't have to slow down, I don't have to do anything else. I'm just flexing or deflexing my throat, and it's changing while I'm hitting the note. So it's just like, hey! And all I'm doing is changing how I'm flexing my throat while I do that. And I feel like that gives me more control over the sound that I want to produce. And that's why I like that style. Another thing that's important when you're singing metal is also think about how you hold your mouth and like your face in general. Like your face has a lot of muscles, and it can change the way that the sound is projected based on how you hold your mouth. And that's why whenever you see metal singers and everything, a lot of times they look stupid as fuck. They're like sitting there going, and it looks dumb, but it helps project the sound in a specific way. It can muffle the sound more, and because the way you're holding your mouth will actually change the way the air flows out of it, which can really help with producing the proper sound that you're looking for. And those slight changes, they seem like they're not a big deal, but they really are, especially when you're projecting your voice, because those small changes become a big issue because there's a lot of power there. So yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. I try to keep this as short as possible without going into too much detail. If you need more detail about any small thing, like how to properly push from your diaphragm or anything like that, like how to better push from it, or how to relax your vocal cords to be able to sing without tearing them apart, or trying to figure out how to push with the back of your throat, or even how to position your face to produce a specific sound, or how that actually works, just feel free to put it down in the comments section and, just ask, I'll do a video specifically on those different subjects and break this down into better detail and all that. But I'm just trying to keep this as short and simple as possible, give you a basic rundown so that you have an idea of how metal singing actually works, so you don't tear apart your voice trying to figure it out and then later on be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have ripped out my vocal cords. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys.